Okay guys, today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Obsidia and how to completely dominate with her. Now first things first, Obsidia is super weak in the early game. Yes, even weaker than Hanabi. But don't worry, because once you know how to scale her damage, she becomes a real monster. Her main source of damage comes from shards. To gain shards, you need to fill her energy bar. And here's the trick. You only get energy by hitting minions, turrets, and enemy heroes. Jungle creeps and Lord don't give you anything. So how do you stack shards fast in the early game? Use your first skill. Spam it on minions, and if you can tag the enemy hero at the same time, that's even better. The difference is huge. Just using basic attacks on a minion wave gave me only half a shard, but using first skill gave me a full shard. So yeah, first skill. Your best friend for early farming. And here's a bonus tip. Obsidia gets 1 shard instantly per kill. So if you can, ask your teammates to let you secure a few early kills to snowball faster. Now let's move on to her second skill. This one is sneaky strong. It gives you 500% movement speed for 0.3 seconds. It's not a dash, but it makes you insanely fast for that short burst. Trust me, this tiny speed boost can save your life or turn a fight completely around. But what really makes Obsidia unique is her ultimate. Once it's active, dash heroes can't use their mobility skills if they're marked by it. All those blink and dash spammers? Yeah, they're crying. And the best part, you can actually walk through walls and obstacles while your ult is active. The range is long too, perfect for catching runners. But here's the downside. You don't actually pull enemies. You just orbit around them in about a 4-meter circle. So if the enemy runs straight back to their team or base, chasing them is usually a bad idea. Sometimes it's smarter to just let them go. Now for the weaknesses. Obsidia is really squishy. Any marksman that relies on basic attacks can delete her, and heroes like Alucard are a big problem since he can still dash with his passive even under your ult. Basically, if you hit your ultimate, you can shred dash heroes, but if you miss it, you're the one who's gonna get shredded. Now, let's talk about battle spells and equipment. I've tested a few spells on Obsidia, Flicker, Aegis, and Inspire. I didn't try the others because they're not really suited for marksman heroes, especially Obsidia, who relies on ranged attacks and shard damage. From my experience, Aegis is by far the best spell. Why? It gives her a bit of extra shield when taking damage, which can completely change the tide of the battle, early, mid, or late game. Honestly, I highly recommend using Aegis. If you're wondering why not Flicker or Inspire, let me break it down. Inspire doesn't really sync with her shards. Obsidia's basic attacks and shards are 2 separate things. Shards are a follow-up passive that hits wherever your basic attack lands, and they also work with her first skill to deal serious damage. Inspire just increases attack speed, which doesn't help her shard scaling, so it's basically a waste. Flicker could work if you want to escape, especially since Obsidia is squishy, and her ult often sticks to enemy damage dealers. But here's the thing, if you're aggressive, like me, you're trying to kill them, not run away. So Flicker isn't as useful unless you prefer a passive playstyle. Now onto equipment and builds. I've tested both crit and Trinity builds. At first I thought Trinity with 25 shards would melt anyone, but the results were disappointing. The damage just wasn't enough. Crit build, on the other hand, scales beautifully with her first skill and shards, allowing her to bring down enemies fast. Basically, just copy Wanwan's crit build and you're good to go. The damage is insane and feels really satisfying to execute. So overall, think of Obsidia like Leslie. Bad early game, but terrifying once she stacks up. If you don't farm properly early, you'll fall behind fast. Anyways, let me show you some gameplay clips. Watch closely, because here you'll clearly see everything I just explained in action.